Welcome. I'm Steve Rader Ginsburg, and I'm the director of the Autorino Center for the Arts. This afternoon's program, Music Intersecting Politics, is a live concert broadcasting from the University of St. Joseph at the Connor Chapel of Our Lady. And it is a partnership between the Autorino Center and our artist-in-residence Cuatro Puntos Ensemble. This is the first of 5 concerts of the series, Music from the Front Lines. All concerts will be live broadcasts. While we maintain physical distancing restrictions, the Autorino Center will continue with many offerings for you to stay socially and culturally connected. Today's program was made possible by those of you who chose to donate, so thank you so much, and to the National Endowment for the Humanities. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we invite you at this time to join us in our digital concert hall. Here you can engage with us and view our extensive program notes. To get to the digital concert hall, visit autorino.usj.edu and complete the registration for this event. You will then receive a link and it'll take you to our digital concert hall. If you have already registered, please use the link found in your email from the Autorino Center. We are honored to be here today with you and with Cuatro Puntos. We are also honored this ground in which we broadcast, which is the traditional lands and meeting grounds of the Mohegan, Pequot, Scatichoke, Golden Hill Puget, Nipmuc, Lenape, and all the unrecognized Algonquin people of this area. We honor their ancestors past, present, and future, and recognize their continued existence to contributions to society today. There's a long history of artists being on the front lines of change, fomenting, capturing, and documenting it. Today, there are civil, social, and political front lines that seemingly are in every direction. To help us put this more into context is our faculty fellow, professor in history of political science, Kenneth Long. Dr. Kenneth Long is the author of 2 books and numerous articles on American politics, foreign policy, international relations, and political theory. He was a visiting Fulbright professor in Linz, Austria, and has also lectured at various universities in Austria, China, and Sweden. Please welcome Dr. Long.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here. Among the reasons I'm here is probably the fact that at the University of St. Joseph, right here, I teach a course on political themes in modern American music. And the focus on that in that course is largely on ways in which music can help evoke change. So issues of social justice and change, political organization are all very much central to the take I have on music as a political theorist. I had the pleasure of chatting with some of the musicians from Cuatro Puntos just Friday. And as far as I know, that link should still be available to any of you who want to catch up on what was, I thought, a very interesting conversation. In that conversation, among the things I talked about, I won't repeat much here, but I want to hit some of the highlights very briefly. Among the things I talked about were some of the songs that have been good examples of various ways in which music helps affect politics. These are not necessarily the songs that affected politics most powerfully, but they're good examples of each way, each manner in which music can help change the political scene. So some music can stun an audience, force them to think about something that they generally don't think about otherwise, or maybe even don't want to think about. Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit from 1939 is maybe an excellent example of that. Audiences didn't know what to make of it. They weren't used to thinking about something like lynching, and certainly not as part of a piece of entertainment or what they thought was entertainment. They thought music had to be entertaining first and foremost, and maybe exclusively. And here was Billie Holiday challenging that notion and literally stunning her audiences into silence and contemplation, and with the hope that that contemplation would yield pressure to take action to end the practice. There's a different approach other than stunning an audience. A song can help sloganeer and advance a movement. This is what some of the Cuatro Puntos musicians called rally songs. One of my favorite examples of this would be John Lennon's Give Peace a Chance, in part because It simply, after going through a litany of trendy news events, it simply repeats the lyrics. All we're saying is give peace a chance over and over and over again, borrowing it to a great extent. The insight that, of all people, Adolf Hitler had, who said, if you want to convince people of something, you need to give a speech, have in it one idea, no more than that, and have that idea encapsulated in a slogan, which you repeat often enough. So at the end of the speech, even the most dim-witted person in your audience knows it by heart. What we've learned from psychology seems to suggest Hitler was onto something before his time, that is indeed a very effective way in which to politic through sloganeering. Other songs can help people feel powerful. Maybe Helen Reddy's I Am Woman is an excellent example of that. The idea is you want to take a group of people who may feel disconnected, may feel, as they've been told too often, that they're not particularly powerful, and in effect say to them, oh no, you are powerful, and all you have to do is stand up and speak out. And yes, you can, to borrow a different slogan from the Obama campaign of 8 years ago. And lastly, and I think a type of music that may be the most challenging of all is one that tells a narrative, tells a story, and informs. So Bob Dylan's Hurricane is a piece of music that is one long story and manages to work musically at the same time it's telling a tale about how Hurricane Carter was framed for murder. And in hearing the song, you're made aware of his situation, which you probably wouldn't have known about otherwise, and hopefully charged to take action. Now, one of the things that is quite clear from the scholarship about music and politics is that music can have the best lyrics in the world, and those are examples of remarkable lyrics. And if it doesn't work musically, it's quite forgettable, and it's not going to go anywhere. So the musical quality is first and foremost the most important aspect of music and its effectiveness. And what we have in our program today is instrumental work. So what lyrics? And we can say, wow, that must be hard, but maybe not. Because there is a reason why the scholars on music and politics are saying that music won't work unless the musical quality has tremendous power, no matter what the lyrics. So music can forego the lyrics altogether. And if we ask why, then we start to think about the quality of emotion that is evoked from the music itself. And that's critically important here. Sometimes it's more than that. It could be a title. You know, if you listen to Debussy's La Mer, if you know any French at all, you're probably quick on the uptake. Oh, this has something to do with the ocean. And then you're maybe more attuned to hearing those passages referring to the sea at various times, when it's calm, when it's stormy, and so on. So a title could be a cue, even if there's no singing of the title anywhere in the musical piece. But more likely and more extensively, it's the tone or the mood of the music itself. So music can be incredibly sad. It can be powerfully beautiful. It can be just plain powerful, as in, you know, music to lead people off to march and demand change. It can be agitated, to capture a moment of frustration, or to get people to stand up and take action. And it can be a little crazy and wild, to suggest that maybe there's something about a political scene that's all mixed up, crazy, and demands our attention as a mixed up, crazy world that requires calming or further craziness to turn it around into something that is more functional. And maybe one last thing that I would identify: context matters. So if a piece of music is being played at a particular moment on the heels of a particular event, we know what that means. No one has to say, oh, this song is about, because we're all living through the same political events at the same time. And if it's a big political event, we're all thinking about it. I'll return to Hitler, since I praised him as a Jewish scholar. So, you know, I don't have a lot of love for Hitler, but he's a fascinating character. When Hitler died, and this marked not only his death, but Germany's loss of the Second World War, German radio played Bruckner's Symphony No. 8 which is a beautiful piece of music with very, very sad elements to it. And no one needed to say, this song goes out to Adolf in appreciation for all. No one had to say anything like that. It was simply quite clear that people knew that this meant the death of their leader, and maybe more powerfully and more uniformly saddening to people in Germany, the loss of the war. So context will always tell us some things of what piece we pull out. If we're on the heels of an incident of police brutality or a contested election or a pandemic, all will help fill it in the context as to what the music means. So some things for you all to think about, but mostly I imagine you're here to enjoy the music, and I know I will. So without further ado, let's hear some beautiful music to enrich our Sunday afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Ballinger. I'm the cellist with the Cuatro Puntos Ensemble. And I'm going to be introducing most of the music that we're playing today. It was the famed civil rights activist, author, and historian W.E.B. Du Bois who viewed the African-American spiritual as the most beautiful expression of human experience born this side of the sea. In his masterpiece, The Souls of Black Folk, Du Bois writes, quote, "They that walked in darkness sang songs in the olden days, sorrow songs, for they were weary at heart. Ever since I was a child, these songs have stirred me strangely. They came out of the South unknown to me, one by one, and yet at once I knew them as of me and of mine. What are these songs, and what do they mean? I know little of music and can say nothing in technical phrase. But I know something of men, and knowing them, I know that these songs are the articulate message of the slave to the world. They are the music of an unhappy people, of the children of disappointment. They tell of death and suffering and unvoiced longing towards a truer world. The songs are indeed the siftings of centuries. The music is far more ancient than the words." Now, fast forward to the 21st century, and composer Jessie Montgomery has sought to capture the inflections of the African-American spiritual in her composition Source Code. After studying the gestures, musical sentences, and language of choreographer Alvin Ailey, poets such as Langston Hughes and Rita Dove, jazz great Ella Fitzgerald, Montgomery says that she was led back to the spiritual as it is a significant part of the DNA of Black folk music, and as well as most popular American music. So Source Code is not based on a pre-existing melody, but rather it seeks to capture in sound the rhythm and inflection of the spiritual as a unique art form. Source Code by Jessie Montgomery. In the Soviet Union, anti-Western censorship and state-sponsored atheism led many composers to find ways to defy the authorities, often imbuing their work with hidden meanings, sometimes embracing various types of spiritual perspective. This was true for three contemporaries at the Moscow and Tallinn conservatories during the 1950s and 1960s, Arvo Pärt, Sofia Gubaidulina, and Alfred Schnittke. When Arvo Pärt's sacred work, Credo, was banned from performance in 1968, he entered into a period of musical silence. He emerged 8 years later with his mature style of composition that he called tintinnabulation. During that period, he undertook a study of medieval and early Renaissance music, and his conversion to Russian Orthodoxy during this period also impacted his approach to composition. In his music, the presence of a tonic triad throughout is intended to reflect the bells used in Orthodox worship. The frequent use of drones can be traced to the ison that accompanies Orthodox chant. The slow and often minimal melodic and harmonic changes draw the listener into a state of contemplative reflection. Fratres, which we will perform for you, is one of his early works in the tintinnabuli style of composition. You'll actually hear the drone in the second violin part, tintinnabuli voice played by the viola, which Pärt it called the sort of the ineffable realm of heaven or of the ideal world. And then the first violin and cello will be performing the melodic part, and he identified that as the voice sort of in this relative world, the voice of sin and suffering. But you'll see that the melodic and the harmonic part, the tintinnabuli voice, are always interacting. Now, the appeal of Pärt's music is not limited to an Orthodox believer or even Christians. Robert Scholl writes in his Cambridge Companion to Arvo Pärt that the poetic of lamentation, desolation, even pity for humanity is surely accessible to the agnostic, the atheist, the non-Christian, as much as the Jew or the Buddhist. An embodied experience of Pert's music may be one in which mindfulness is both somatic and transcendent. Fratres by Arvo Pärt.
As I mentioned earlier, in the Soviet Union, 20th century compositional techniques that were popular in the West were forbidden throughout much of the Soviet Union in the 1950s and 60s. At the Moscow Conservatory, students were occasionally subjected to searches of their rooms for scores of forbidden Western composers. They had to receive special permission to view scores or listen to music even by Stravinsky and Mahler. Many of the young composers relied on the goodwill of liberal professors to gain access to such forbidden music. Vissarion Shabelin was a key figure at the Moscow Conservatory in exposing his students to contemporary Western music. The composer Alfred Schnittke, whose quartet we'll play in a moment, recounted that in 1956, Shabelin showed them scores of Schoenberg, Berg, Webern, and Pierre Boulez, all serial composers. When the authorities came to investigate Shabelin, the conservatory students protected him, refusing to reveal any of his purported transgressions. But still, serial composers such as Boulez, Xenakis, Ligeti, Passur, Stockhausen, as well as Webern, Berg, and Schoenberg continued to be officially banned through the 1960s. So serialism, or well, just to build on that point. So Alfred Schnittke's first quartet, which we're about to play, is a 12-tone or serial composition published in 1966. And as such, then, we should see it as a direct musical protest against the censorship of the Soviet Union and the Soviet authorities. Okay, so 12-tone composition utilizes the 12 pitches of the Western musical scale, arranges them into a tone row in which each pitch is sounded once. This establishes the melodic and the harmonic structure for a composition. However, there are actually 48 different permutations of any given tone row, because it can be transposed itself to any of the 12 tones, to begin on any of the 12 tones of the scale. It can be inverted, so that, say, if the first pitch is going up a whole step, then instead the first pitch to the second will go down a whole step. It can be reversed in retrograde, so you start at the end, go to the beginning, and then you can do the retrograde inversion. You can invert the retrograde. And so all told, there are 48 different possibilities for any tone row. Furthermore, sometimes you'll have the row sounded simultaneously. You may have
each instrument playing the row in their own permutation, or they may be sharing in the presentation of the row. So there's quite a lot of possibility in a 12-tone style of composition. Now, I do need to say, if you're familiar with the work of Arnold Schoenberg or any serial composers, you may be aware that it can be challenging to listen to. Part of the reason is there are these constantly dissonant harmonies, not the traditional kind of harmonies that you might expect in Mozart or Beethoven or more romantic music. And so these dissonant harmonies are often very prevalent. But if you focus on other aspects of the music, the melodic gestures, the tone color, the contrasts in tempo and dynamics, the interactions among the instruments, one can still have a very meaningful listening experience. So we want to present to you now Alfred Schnittke's First String Quartet.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank Cuatro Puntos. I want to thank the University of San Joseph for giving me this opportunity to be part of this amazing project, to giving me this opportunity to have my music played for you. You will be listening for 4 songs from the album The Curve, the first cooperation between me and Cuatro Puntos. You will be listening to 4 spots, 4 stars in my life in a very dark times. You will be listening to From Her, Then, Kohl Fajr, and Yusuf. Each one of these songs has a different story. I believe that between the light and the darkness there is a small tiny thread. And from that I got inspired to compose Kohl Fajr. Speaks about the first second of the dawn. And I believe that if we were trying to find a hope or a light in a very dark times, usually we don't get this light out of us. If we search around and we didn't get this light, we have to search inside us. This composition I didn't compose. This composition composed me. This composition teaches me a lot. You would be listening also to Yusur. Yusur, the meaning in Arabic means the softly easy, and it's the name of my only sister, the youngest member in the family. And Yusur was, my sister, was the first dream come true for me. When I was 7 years old, I got a dream that I hope I'd have a sister, and I was really hoping to that happen. And that was the first dream in my life come true. I like her so much, and I was away from her, and I wanted to remember her through the music. End up with this composition, become one of the spotlights in my life. And you would be listening to From Her, which is a perspective from a woman or an she identity. What if she want to talk? What if she want to say something? What if we listen to what she want to say peacefully and understand why she's saying this? And you would be listening to Wenn, which is a German title for a composition. The meaning in English, if, in Arabic, law. And this specific word, it's like very mysterious. It's a word talking about the future, and it's from the word of the now, but it's bring me to the past. What if? So I have so many things to think about it when I use what if. So if, or when, or law, it's like a door for us to imagine, to go in the past or in the future and put so many probabilities for our lives. Again, I want to thank Cuatro Puntos, the University of San Joseph, for giving me this opportunity. And I hope you will enjoy the music, and I hope you will read the music. I hope it will leave some light inside your souls. Thank you so much.
Well, our final selection tonight on today's program, not tonight, is another composition by Jessie Montgomery titled Voodoo Dolls. It was commissioned in 2008 by the Jump Dance Company of Rhode Island. It's influenced by West African drumming patterns and lyrical chant motives, all of which feature extended periods of improvisation by our two violinists, Erin Packard and Annie Trepanier. Voodoo Dolls by Jessie Montgomery.
Thank you so much to Cuatro Puntos, to Dr. Long, to the Office of Ministry who takes care of this beautiful chapel at the University of St. Joseph. We love performing here and letting these voices sing in this space. If you'd like to continue to know more about the upcoming events and you're not on our mailing list, come to autorino.usj.edu. You can also go to the Cuatro Puntos website at cuatropuntos.org and get on our mailing list. Again, I'd like to thank those of you who supported us with your contributions and helped to make this possible, along with the funding from the National Humanities Endowment for the Humanities. Future concerts and panel discussions will feature works of American, Latin American, and Middle Eastern work that Cuatro Puntos will feature. Together, we will host panel discussions and concerts, continuing to work with our faculty fellows, Drs. Gina Rosich and Patrick Nicoletti. From all of us at the University of St. Joseph, the Autorino Center for the Arts, and Cuatro Puntos Ensemble, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great upcoming holidays.